Hello everyone and welcome, and thank you for joining us here at Princess Margaret Cancer Centre this afternoon. My name is Keith Stewart. I'm the Director of the Princess Margaret Cancer Centre at University Health Network and a Regional Vice President for Cancer at Ontario Health. I just wanted to mention I'm joined today by Dr. Laura Dawson. Laura is the Chair of the University of Toronto's Department of Radiation Oncology, and by Dr. Rob Beecroft, who is an interventional radiologist in medical imaging at UHN and Mount Sinai, both of whom could provide expert commentary on the use of the products you're going to hear today later if you need. I'd like to start with a land acknowledgement. Toronto, the land on which we gather today, is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. It is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit and Métis peoples. We're very proud of the leading-edge cancer care and innovation we are able to provide across Ontario for all who choose to live here. Increasingly, part of the cancer care innovation we are able to deliver involves the use of radiopharmaceuticals across many cancer types. These radiopharmaceuticals require use of medical-grade isotopes to be produced and distributed not just here, but around the world. And you're going to hear a lot about this in the next 20 minutes or so. I would like to welcome Jason Van Mart, Laurentis' President and CEO, to come and talk to us about what has brought us all here today. Jason has been with Laurentis since 2018 and has been instrumental in their growth and development in Canada and internationally, helping make Laurentis a leader in the production of life-saving isotopes. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us here at Princess Margaret Cancer Centre. I'm Jason Van Mart. I'm the President and CEO of Laurentis Energy Partners. I want to start by thanking Ontario's Deputy Premier and Minister of Health, Sylvia Jones, as well as Minister of Energy, Todd Smith. Thank you for being here with us today, and thank you for your continued support of nuclear power and Laurentis' ongoing production of medical isotopes. With your support, we are helping secure Ontario's clean energy future while improving the lives of millions of people around the world. I also want to thank our valued partners, BWXT Medical and Boston Scientific are here in the room as well. These partners have been instrumental in helping Laurentis become a world leader in isotope production. And it is with their help that I'm happy today to announce that Laurentis will begin producing a valuable medical isotope, yttrium-90. This potentially life-saving isotope is instrumental in treating several diseases, primarily liver cancer, which is the fourth most common cause of cancer in the world, cancer deaths in the world. As one of very few global suppliers of yttrium-90, Laurentis will soon help fill a growing need. Pending regulatory approvals, we expect to begin producing yttrium-90 by mid-2025 using our proprietary isotope delivery system developed in partnership with BWXT Medical. After being irradiated in reactors at Ontario Power Generation's Darlington nuclear station, yttrium-90 will be packaged and distributed by BWXT Medical and Boston Scientific to 30 countries around the world. This important project builds on our work to produce another critical isotope, molybdenum-99, which is used to help detect illnesses like cancer and heart disease, and opens the door for the possibility of future isotope production at the Darlington nuclear power station. But importantly, yttrium-90 will be the first time that one of Laurentis' isotopes will be used as a therapeutic treatment to help destroy cancer cells and shrink tumors non-invasively. Once in production, our supply of yttrium-90 will give hope to millions battling serious illnesses, including patients right here at Princess Margaret. Many of us have likely been affected by cancer, either personally, via a loved one, or friends. This deadly disease continues to impact so many every day. Laurentis respects the important work that goes on here at Princess Margaret and hospitals around the world. We will continue to embrace our responsibility to use our expertise, our innovation, and our cutting-edge technologies to be a leader in the production of medical isotopes. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. I'd now like to call on the Honourable Sylvia Jones, Deputy Premier and Minister of Health, to bring greetings from the province. Minister Jones has served as MPP for Dufferin-Caledon since 2007 and was appointed Minister of Health and Deputy Premier in 2022, previously serving as Solicitor General. She is focused on building a more connected and convenient healthcare system for all Ontarians, and at Princess Margaret we've appreciated her support. Welcome, Deputy Premier.
Well, thank you, Keith, and I also want to acknowledge that my friend and colleague, a practicing RN, Natalia Kusendova-Basha, is also joining us here today. So, on behalf of Premier Ford and our entire government, I want to thank Princess Margaret for hosting us today and express my sincere appreciation and gratitude for your entire team, for everything you do to support cancer patients throughout their journey of treatment to care. The Princess Margaret Cancer Centre is truly an incredible facility and is a national leader in delivering cancer care as one of the largest comprehensive cancer treatment facilities in the world. Under the leadership of Premier Ford, Ontario has become a hub of health innovation, research, and technology. And through our Your Health Plan, our government is building a more connected and convenient healthcare system by making bold, innovative, and creative changes to better address the needs of patients at every stage of their treatment. There are many examples of state-of-the-art, world-class healthcare taking place across the province, including right here at Princess Margaret. Industry, hospitals, sciences, clinicians, and our government are working together to further advance research and innovation in healthcare, making important breakthroughs that are helping to connect patients to the care and treatment they need. Today's exciting announcement of the development of Y90 isotopes produced by Laurentis and harvested from the Darlington Nuclear Generation Station is another example of how Ontario continues to be at the forefront of medical innovation. Y90 is truly a life-changing isotope and is instrumental in treating a number of illnesses, including, as mentioned, liver cancer. The development of these medical isotopes not only strengthens Ontario's position as a world leader in the production of isotopes, but is another way we are ensuring our incredible healthcare partners have the tools they need to better diagnose and provide timely treatment to patients bravely fighting cancer. Thank you again to all of the healthcare workers at Princess Margaret and across our province for the exceptional care you provide patients and families every single day. And thank you as well to Laurentis and industry partners for your work and leadership on the Y90 project. Your cutting-edge technology is helping healthcare workers and hospitals across Ontario and the world provide more innovative care that will improve the health outcomes for people for years to come. Thank you. Stay well.
Thank you, Deputy Premier. I would now like to welcome the Honourable Todd Smith, Minister of Energy, to provide remarks. Minister Smith serves as the MPP for the Bay of Quinte and was appointed Minister of Energy in 2021. Since becoming an MPP in 2011, he has been responsible for a number of portfolios, including economic development, job creation and trade, children, community and social services, and government and consumer services. Welcome, Minister.
Thanks very much, Dr. Stewart. Thanks for hosting us here at Princess Margaret today. Great to see lots of familiar faces in the room as well. Of course, our colleague Natalia, who was mentioned as well. Lots of faces from OPG here as well, and BWXT Medical and Boston Scientific, who we're about to hear from. Our former colleague at the legislature, who now heads up the Organization of Canadian Nuclear Industries, moved on to bigger and better things. Bill Walker, former member for Bruce Grey Owen Sound. His predecessor, Ron Oberth, is here as well. Hollywood, good to see you, my friend. And a great friend of the nuclear industry and one of our incredible host communities for nuclear is Adrian Foster, the Mayor of Clarington. And always good to see you here, Mayor, too. Thank you. Thank you for your support. The collaboration by Laurentis Energy Partners and Boston Scientific to produce yttrium-90 or Y90 isotopes at OPG's Darlington station, as I like to say, my home away from home away from home. I'm there so often. It's huge for patients here in Ontario, but around the world as well. And as Ontario's Energy Minister, I am so pleased to be able to highlight once again the indispensable role of Ontario's world-class nuclear sector in the fight against cancer. Because not only does nuclear generate the clean, reliable baseload electricity to power our growing province, but it's also a medical game changer. It's enabling the production of life-saving medical isotopes that help treat cancers and other diseases here at home and abroad. In fact, thanks to the tens of thousands of men and women working in our nuclear sector today, Ontario is already a world leader in the production and export of cancer-fighting medical isotopes. Ontario's CANDU reactors already produce about 50% of the world's supply of cobalt-60, as well as a number of other important isotopes, as Jason mentioned. I like to just call it Moly-99. It's easier to say. Lutetium-177 as well. Actinium is being produced up at CNL, Canadian Nuclear Laboratories. These life-saving critical medical isotopes are used to detect and treat serious diseases like cancer. Ultimately, this collaboration between OPG, Laurentis, and Boston Scientific will help provide a wider range of medical isotopes and deliver even more life-saving medical treatments. And that's important not just for Ontario and Canada, but it is important for the world. I often say the world is watching because of our small modular reactor program at Darlington or the long history of producing clean, reliable electricity at our CANDU reactors, but the world is also watching because of what's happening here today. And this fact may surprise a few folks. Russia right now is the leading provider of medical isotopes today. But with new partnerships like the one we're talking about today and our unique Canadian nuclear technology, we're producing these isotopes at home for our own patients, but we're providing another option for the world, especially our allies out there that are looking for a friendly source for these isotopes. And with the global market, this is staggering, expected to grow by 8% every year for medical isotopes and expected to be up to $30 billion by 2030. I know that we're poised to become an isotope superpower globally, building on the 8,500 jobs that we already have in this sector in Canada. So congratulations to Laurentis. I know it's been lots of work, Jason. Boston Scientific, who you're about to hear from, for this important contribution to Ontario's nuclear industry and to the global fight against cancer. So I'll hand it back over to you, Dr. Stewart. We've had Stewart, Jones, and Smith at the podium already today. And Van Wart, too.
We just need an Irishman now. And I'd actually like to congratulate Minister Smith on learning to pronounce all those isotopes. Congratulations. He was practicing in the green room. Thank you, Minister. Now I'd like to ask Peter Pattison, President of Interventional Oncology at Boston Scientific, to come up and say a few words. Peter joined Boston Scientific in 2019 and has an extensive background in interventional oncology. He has a Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry and an MBA from the great Queen's University. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you very much, Dr. Stewart. Very great to be here. It's a lot of fun. We come up all the way from Ottawa to the big cities. This is always a big adventure for us. But I want to talk to you today a little bit about one of Canada's and Ontario's lesser-known success stories in the fight against cancer. It's about TheraSphere. And TheraSphere is a great Canadian story, and it's an Ontario story. It was developed in Ontario, commercialized here for the rest of the world, and it's been dispensed every day for the last 23 years up in Ottawa, Canada. And now we're able to have it irradiated here locally in Canada, in Ontario at Darlington, using yttrium-90 from Laurentis. Up until now, we've had to scour the world and old nuclear reactors. Wherever we could get these isotopes, we would find them and bring them back to Ottawa. But now we have the benefit of just going up the 401 and turning left to the 416. And for those that may not be familiar with TheraSphere, it's a targeted radiation treatment for liver cancer. that is often used as a first-line treatment and is a standard of care in hundreds of hospitals, and as we heard, more than 30 countries around the world. More specifically, a dose of TheraSphere consists of millions of microscopic glass spheres that are filled with yttrium radiation that are injected via a catheter. So the catheter is put into the body, parked right in front of the tumor, and these millions of microscopic spheres are pushed through the catheter into the bloodstream, and they lodge in the middle of the tumor, and therefore they emit their radiation from the inside out. By doing so, by being so selective with the treatment, you're able to destroy tumor cells and giving a break and not impacting as much the healthy tissue that surrounds the tumor. And to date, more than 100,000 patients around the world in the last 20 years have been treated with TheraSphere. And our goal is to continue to advance this work in this field and to provide more patients across Canada, across Ontario, and across the rest of the world access to this effective treatment option. We already heard that liver cancer is a global problem. More than 800,000 patients around the world get diagnosed with liver cancer, and more sadly, more than 700,000 die each year because of it's one of the worst cancers in terms of survival you can get. In addition to expanding the availability of TheraSphere to more patients in more countries, we're also testing the effectiveness of TheraSphere to treat other types of cancer, and is currently in clinical human testing for brain cancer and for prostate cancer as well. So this is just the start after 20 years. We've got another 20 or more to go. And to help us with our ambitious growth plans, we also need a long-term ambitious partner for the supply of this medical isotope that's in TheraSphere, which is yttrium-90. And in Laurentis, we've found a long-term partner who can help meet the needs of this increased capacity, and more importantly, increased reliability as older reactors around the world start to fail, and also increased proximity to the BWXT dispensing facilities in Ottawa. So we're thrilled to be here today and officially to say that we're working with Laurentis Energy and to be able to bring this treatment to so many more patients around the world with so many different types of cancer. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. That now concludes the formal part of our event. We'll open up to any questions from the media, and I'll invite Hannah Jensen. Hannah is here, and she is going to moderate. Do you want to come around here, Hannah?
Sure. Okay. We'll move to questions from the media. As a friendly reminder, the format is one question, one follow-up. Please state your name and your outlet before your question. I have a microphone to hand out now, so whoever wants to go first, I'll pass it over.
Maybe just hold it together.
I'll try not to whisper. I don't know who wants to take this. Maybe Jason. We just had a very good explanation of how this drug works in the body. Can you give a similarly simple explanation of how you get this out of the reactor? Like, do you put the glass? I have no idea. Do you put the glass beads into the reactor, and how is it harvested, and at what stage of is this spent fuel? Just questions like that.
At a very simple level, we have 4 tubes that start at the top of the reactor, go all the way to the bottom. We have a winch with a basket on it, and we are able to load in the isotopes into that basket. We lower it into the reactor where it collects neutrons. It irradiates, in this case, yttrium-89 into yttrium-90. We're able to retract that basket. It gets properly flasted and shielded, and then it's safely shipped up to the processing facility at BWXT Medical.
Right, so this is all taking place while the reactor is doing its thing, making electricity.
We are making these isotopes while we're also seamlessly making electricity.
Okay, good. And just a follow-up maybe for Todd. Yeah. I don't know how much you can discuss in financials or whatever, but how much money are you making from this, and will it lower our hydro rates?
Well, it's going to impact the GDP of the province, that's for sure. And when you talk about the enormous opportunity that exists, and we've been hearing this from countries and allies around the world, that, like many things, don't want to be reliant any longer on Russia for products, and to a larger extent even China. It's one of the great things about our CANDU reactors is that they can operate 365 days a year, and at the same time be producing these life-saving medical isotopes, not just yttrium but the other ones, and I won't go through them again, and please don't ask me to spell them. As I mentioned in my remarks, they're talking about this growing to be a $30 billion industry, and right now it's a significant industry here in Canada. But with Russia being the leader right now, it gives us an incredible opportunity because of the 18 CANDU reactors that we do have in the province to be able to provide these medical isotopes to the world. Many of them have a short half-life. You have to get them out of the reactor. It's the one part of the story that Jason didn't touch on, but you have to get them out of the reactor. You have to get them to where they need to be processed, and then you have to get them quickly to where the patients, like Princess Margaret here, will be able to use this medical technology to save lives. And so it's a great story all the way around. We're going to see people employed in this sector. It's going to have an enormous impact on our GDP. And I think it's just one of the untold stories, really, of Ontario's nuclear advantage, and that's medical isotopes.
Can I just quickly follow up? Is this going to be like any kind of material revenue to OPG's bottom line?
Yeah, I'll let Jason talk about that.
This particular project will not be material to OPG's bottom line. Yeah.
I think we were surprised at how brief that was.
We're not used to brief answers.
Yeah.
If I may just interject, this field, today we're talking about yttrium-90 for liver cancer, which is a relatively small field. But the field of theranostics, which is using radiopharmaceuticals to treat cancer, is exploding worldwide. There are multiple uses in imaging, lots of different isotopes, lots of different ways to deliver, and we anticipate somewhat exponential growth in this field. So it may not be material today, but it may be in the future.
Minister Smith, just one more question for you. Just on the timeline, what kind of work are we talking about actually being done on this reactor to get it up to just the way that it's able to process this?
Yeah, sure. So, and Jason can touch on this too if he wants to after I give you a long-winded answer. There's a lot of work that's already taken place in ensuring that the CANDU reactors can receive the isotopes in the reactor core. And it's been years, I think it's safe to say, in the making for the reactors to be able to receive the isotopes for moly-99, lutetium, and now yttrium as well. I believe it's probably about a year away before we'll start to see yttrium actually hitting the market, but Jason, if you want to take that.
The system was designing and design work began in 2018. The system was commissioned in December 2022. We have Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission approval to produce molybdenum-99. So the system is up and running. The current unit that it's installed in, it's in Unit 2 at Darlington. That unit is actually down for routine planned maintenance. So the system is receiving maintenance the same as the reactor. That'll return to service in I believe May of this year. We are currently awaiting FDA approval for the commercialization of our moly product. Once we receive that, we'll be able to have our moly-99 and our Tech-99 generators in the market. We have, a couple of weeks ago, applied for Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission approval to produce yttrium-90. We expect that to take 12 to 18 months. But we're hopeful that by the end of next year, we will be producing yttrium-90 commercially at Darlington.
And to follow up on some of the things you've already touched on, is as far as when this is up and running, will you still have to rely on Russia or any other countries to get this material?
I think Peter probably can answer the supply chain for Boston better than I can.
Sure, I'll give you a nuclear physics answer. No, I won't come close. So what we have is we have yttrium. We make really pure glass particles, glass microspheres, that are about the third the width of a human hair wide. So these are like 20 microns in diameter, and we load them with a stable isotope that you just find in the ground called yttrium-89. So what happens is we put these cold microspheres into the reactor, and they get excited, and neutron bombardment, they get excited up to the radioactive state of yttrium-90. So in other words, we're not dependent on foreign countries or governments to get the cold glass stable particles.
I think, if I may, I don't usually get nuclear questions at my nuclear announcements, so I'd like to take an opportunity to answer now. You know, our CANDUs are reliant on natural uranium as well, which I think is a really, really important thing to point out. That natural uranium comes from mines in northern Saskatchewan, and then that uranium is processed at places like BWXT in Peterborough and at Cameco in Port Hope and Cobourg. So we're very, very fortunate. It's one of the big advantages that we have from our Canadian nuclear supply chain is that, and particularly with the CANDU reactors, is that we don't have to rely on many other countries. We have an enormous supply chain represented by the Organization of Canadian Nuclear Industries that largely operates here in Ontario, but there are some other companies that operate across the country as well that are supplying the large, you know, components that we need to operate a CANDU facility, but also provide the pieces that we need to allow for medical isotopes. And you know, BWXT is one of those companies that's also designing and creating this opportunity for us. So.
And just because there's only two of us, we don't have to fight with everybody else. Minister Jones, could I just ask you one quick question? They mentioned the fact that this will be sent to 30 other countries, I believe. What kind of partnerships can you, I guess, forge when you have something like that, when it comes to, I guess, bringing in other medicines that maybe not aren't produced here?
Well, I'm not sure, Dr. Stewart, if you want to touch on this, but when we embrace the Ontario-made research, manufacturing, innovation, it just encourages and empowers our hospital partners, our clinicians, to be and continue to be world-class. So what we're seeing here is obviously incredible patient-focused improvements in Ontario, but it also allows us to recruit, retain those world-class clinicians that we want to practice and be part of the Ontario healthcare system. Keith, would you like to add? Oh, please.
Yeah, sure, thanks. Thanks, yeah, it's nice as a radiation oncologist to be asked nuclear questions too, and speak about two things near and dear to my heart, liver cancer, but also radiation therapy and radioisotopes. So congratulations to everyone. You know, we are a leading center in all types of cancer care, particularly with liver cancer care. It's a under-recognized cancer worldwide, underfunded. And we heard already, unfortunately, the outcomes are not as good as we want, although they are improving. They're improving in Canada. And that's only because of multidisciplinary care. So expertise in surgery, transplant, medical oncology, immunotherapy, targeted therapy, interventional radiology. My colleague Rob Beecroft is the one who treats patients with yttrium-90, does also other procedures, ablative therapy for small tumors, and external beam radiation oncology, radiation therapy that I deliver. And so with all of us working together to treat these patients, we really can make huge impact. And as mentioned, that impact then can lead to global benefits, as it's a very important cancer worldwide. And we have many international fellows and students who learn from us and share expertise around the world and make impact. So I expect that will happen with the yttrium-90 treatment and other treatments we do. We're sure to attract more researchers and oncologists with better supply of radioisotopes. Dr. Stewart already mentioned the growing need for radioisotope therapy to treat cancer patients. It's extremely exciting, and that growth is not underestimating what we expect, not only for liver cancer, but also to treat more common cancers and for new indications. So we can tag the radioisotope to proteins, then targeting a protein on cancer. And so we do that already with lutetium to treat prostate cancer and some neuroendocrine tumors, but it's a very rapidly growing field where we hope to have a huge impact on patients. And hopefully we will become one of the leaders, if not the leader in the world. And this will help. And this will help not only from the caregiver side, but the research side. And I expect dissemination around the world. So it's very, very exciting as a clinician and researcher.
Once you're up there, yeah. Laura,
I shouldn't have come up.
Laura Dawson?
Yes.
Okay. While you're up there, Is this a one-time injection? Is this repeated injection, the Y90 for liver cancer? How much does a patient get? I suppose it depends on the nature of their cancer, but can you give us some ballpark answers on that kind of thing?
I can give ballpark, but we do have my colleague Rob Beecroft, if you want to come up, who actually delivers the treatment. So I can start, and then Rob can speak. So the treatment is delivered itself in one injection, one procedure with many millions of the radio-labeled beads. But the technical details is something that I'll let Dr. Beecroft speak about.
Yeah, hi. It is, for most patients, it's 2 or 3 procedures. They're sort of minimally invasive angiographic procedures, whereas Peter was saying we put a small catheter through the skin into the artery in the wrist or groin, just a Band-Aid afterwards. It's all done as outpatients, so they don't have to stay in hospital overnight, and which is great for keeping patients out of hospital and comfortable at home. The first procedure is what we call a mapping angiogram to plan the treatment and make sure it's going to be safe to do it and figure out the appropriate dose to give for the best therapeutic effect, best results, and minimize the risk of complications. They then have to come back for the actual treatment dose, which is usually, we treat patients once. In some cases, we'll repeat treatments down the road, but usually it's one treatment. If for liver cancer, if it's in both lobes, we have to treat those at 2 separate occasions. So it's up to 3 procedures if they have cancer in both lobes of the liver. But
What's the volume?
we calculate the radiation dose based on how much liver volume we're treating. And so it's usually aim for a target dose for that volume of 80 to 120 gray, which is some becquerels, megabecquerels. And I just say I want this much on this day, and Peter Patterson's company puts it on my doorstep, and they're always accurate, so it's good.
That's good enough.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Are you sure you didn't have anything more?